Hey everyone and welcome back to the channel. I just got finished watching King and Queen of the Ring 2024 in Saudi Arabia, and I'm here to break down all the winners, losers and what went on during the PLE. But before we get into this video, please do remember to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed or a thumbs down if you didn't. Leave a comment below on what you thought of the PLE and subscribe for more wrestling action. Let's get straight into this one, starting off with the pre-show match, which I didn't watch. I saw the highlights in the main card, which was Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae versus the women's tag team champions Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, with Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair retaining the tag team championships. Though I didn't see this match and I only did see the highlights, I will just say that Bianca and Jade make a great tag team. They seem to be got great chemistry together, not just both in the ring but also in the backstage interviews they've been doing. They seem to really get on quite well, and it definitely shows on camera. I'm glad they're a tag team. I think they're doing great work. It would have been nice to see that match on the main show, just because it seemed very thrown together last minute. But Jade and Bianca are two big stars. However, of course, the thing I'm most looking forward to with these two is when that tag team eventually implodes and we get to see Jade versus Bianca. Whether that's going to be something as soon as SummerSlam or whether they're going to hold that out to WrestleMania 41 or beyond, I'm not too sure. However, I'm massively looking forward to that match when it happens. But let's get down into the main card. So, starting off with the first match, we saw Becky Lynch defend her Women's World Heavyweight Championship against Liv Morgan, which caught me off guard, as you can tell by my voice. Liv Morgan got the win. I mean, when you think about it, it actually isn't as shocking as what perhaps it was when I was watching it live, in a sense that Liv was sort of in this rivalry of Rhea. Dom's been kind of bought into it. Rhea got injured. Liv Morgan's on this revenge tour. It does actually make sense that Liv wins the championship. I just didn't see Becky losing quite yet. I know she was a sort of a step-in champion, and it sort of obviously wasn't planned. Yeah, I didn't see it coming, but sort of now that it's been and done, and I've had a couple of, sort of thinking about it throughout the rest of the card, it does make a lot of sense why Liv won that match. There's some interesting dynamic there, with Dom in being involved as well. Becky said that she's pulling in her rematch clause this Monday on Raw, so it'll be interesting to see what happens then. I'm going to presume that Liv retains, possibly up until SummerSlam, where we then see Rhea versus Liv. If Rhea's, of course, medically cleared to go by then. If not, it almost seems strange that they put the title on Liv this early. The last title reign, in my opinion, wasn't great. Like, in particular, the match with Ronda, I remember being an absolute stinker. So, great that Liv's got this championship, but let's see what happens from here on out, is my opinion. It was a good last night was a good match, or tonight was a good match, I should say. But of course, that had Becky Lynch in it, and we know how much of a pro Becky Lynch is. Not saying that Liv isn't, but let's see what happens now. She's got this title. That's what. And the match was good, so we'll leave it at that. Moving on to the second match of the evening, which was the Triple Threat, which was probably my most anticipated match of the evening, which saw Sami Zayn defend his championship against Chad Gable and Big Bronson Reed, Otis at the side as well. Sami Zayn retains, and I think they did this really well. Again, even though I was excited for it and I loved the chaos of a Triple Threat match, it was still interesting to me that they had Bronson Reed in the match, and even in the video package, he was stuck in there like, oh, you two are focused on each other, so I'm going to take advantage. It does make sense, but that's literally his only motive for being in this match and his only reasoning for being in this match. Again, a little odd, and obviously seeing how the match played out, he was really only there to eat the pin to continue this rivalry between Sami and Chad, which I am happy about, by the way, because one, Sami Zayn's great, and Chad Gable's great as well, and the story they got going on is probably the best story in WWE at the moment, in my personal opinion. So they're having World Championship level rivalries with the Intercontinental Championship and putting some well-deserved prestige on that title, which obviously Gunther had worked hard for over the past 666 days before he lost it. So great to see. A good match nevertheless. I enjoyed it. It wasn't quite as good as I think I was hoping for, but at the same time, sometimes you can just overhype things in your head, especially triple threat matches and stuff like that. And I enjoyed the ending with Otis sort of being a bit hesitant, and then of course clotheslines Chad Gable, though very predictable even from the offset. I think it ended well, and it had that classic shot of just Chad staring into Otis's soul and Otis looking very apologetic. But yeah, a good match nevertheless. It builds up already what is a great rivalry, and I'm looking forward to seeing Sammy and Chad continue this. Now the question is, when is that going to happen? Clash of the Castle, Money in the Bank, are they going to wait till SummerSlam and have it on a big stadium show? We'll have to wait and see, but I'm enjoying it nevertheless. Next up, we had the Queen's tournament final between Nia Jax and Lara Valkyrie, I think her name is. So got this prediction wrong. I said Bianca would go through. Of course, if I'd actually been following in detail what's been happening throughout the week, sort of known about the knee. Was still surprised to see Nia Jax beat her clean, though, I have to say. But going into this, I was pretty confident Nia will walk out with a victory, and she did. It was an okay match. I can't say this was definitely where that sort of mid-pay-per-view run, or PLE, I should say, run, where your interest levels sort of die down a little bit. The ending, of course, was nasty, though I saw a lot of people on Twitter sort of saying that it was a nasty finish, it was gnarly. I liked it, okay? I really liked the fact that it looked that brutal. It looked like something that should have ended a match, so creds to both women, and hopefully Lyra's okay. Nothing was damaged there, I'm sure it wasn't, because they're both pros. And yeah, a little bit interesting at the end of that match when sort of Nia Jax was sort of crying and then sort of went back to being a heel. I'm not a massive fan of that because it does sort of break that fourth wall, sort of letting you in and then taking you back out straight away. It's different on social media and in the behind the scenes sort of documentaries, but to see it on the actual show is a little strange. Just a personal opinion. It really doesn't take away from the PLE at all. But yeah, Nia Jax won. Haven't really got much to say about it. Let's see who she decides to go for at SummerSlam, and see if they put on a half-decent match. Moving on, we've got the men's final of the King of the Ring tournament between Gunther and Randy Orton. As I predicted, Randy went through, and as I predicted, Gunther won this one. I was pretty confident that Gunther was going to win this match, as I'm sure a lot of people were. I couldn't see any reason why they wouldn't have him win this match. Though I will say that they really gave me a shock with that second RKO. I actually thought maybe they are going to pull the trigger on Randy, and then it got me thinking as the sort of match went on, because it was quite a lengthy match and a great match at that, arguably the match of the night potentially. I was interested, sort of thought to myself, well, why wouldn't Randy be in the championship match at SummerSlam? It's been a while since he's had a championship match with the injury and things like that. I suppose you could count the Royal Rumble match with Roman, but more so talking one-on-one. And Randy versus Cody would be a great SummerSlam match. Mentor versus mentee, and master, or the mentee becoming the master and all that. It would have been great. So I did have my disbelief at points in that match, but of course Gunther did end up winning. I wasn't a massive fan of the ending with the hitting the knee and the shoulder being up on the pin. It's not that I'm not saying we shouldn't protect Randy, but I just don't think he needs it. Like, at this point in Randy's career, would it have hurt him for Gunther to beat him clean? I wouldn't have really thought it would have stopped his momentum all that much, really. I know he hasn't really had... He's had big profile matches since being back, but no notable wins, really. So I get it from that point of view. But Gunther, longest reigning IC champ, dominant champion. I think a clean win would have gone over better here for me, personally, especially with the powerbomb. Randy could have sold the back. Really devastating powerbomb that Gunther has. Nevertheless, he did get the win, and I presume he's going to pick Cody at SummerSlam. The only reason I think they might hold off on that is if either they have a bloodline story with Roman returning, as he has known to return at SummerSlam. I think he's at the SmackDown before SummerSlam, if I remember reading an article correctly. So are they going to run the rematch between Cody and Roman there, and then have Gunther and potentially Drew? Because the other thing that was announced on this show is that Damien will be defending the championship against Drew at Clash of the Castle. And I don't know about you, but I can't see Drew losing that match. Even though Damien hasn't really had that many defences, I can't see him going back to the UK with Drew in a championship match and not winning that championship, especially how much that disgruntled Drew in the Clash of the Castle in Wales a couple of years ago when he lost to Roman. It was quite well documented that he wasn't happy with that decision. I can't see them doing that again with him just re-signing the contract. That has to have been a reason why he re-signed, in my opinion. So if good Drew wins there, do they run Drew and Gunther because of the classic WrestleMania 39 they match they had with Sheamus. He's had the one-on-one with Sheamus in the best of 3. Does he now get that with Drew? I don't know. And the other thing is, Drew's probably more likely to drop the belt than what Cody is. But then you've also got the Punk thing and Punk coming back, and who knows what they'll do with it. But nevertheless, Gunther, the right man to win King of the Ring, another accolade on that man's growing list of accomplishments in the WWE. And then, of course, moving on to the main event, saw Cody Rhodes taking on Logan Paul just for the WWE Championship, which, of course, saw the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes retain his championship. I enjoyed the match. I do think Logan's a world-class performer, and I like to keep these videos mostly positive, but I want to get the negative out of the way. It's a repeat of things that we've already seen. Now, I know what some of you are going to say, especially with me being a Roman fan, but that was every single Roman Reigns main event. Yes, I do agree with that. But the thing with Logan is that he's such a talented performer. Why do we need to keep replaying this brass knuckles thing? It just didn't feel necessary. And personally, he's got that knockout punch without the brass knuckles. And I like the way they play off the titanium hand. And the way that people sell that right hand from Logan is great. I think that's devastating enough, personally. At no point in this match was I in disbelief that Logan was actually going to pull it off, I have to say. At one part, I thought to myself, well, with SummerSlam being in Cleveland, Logan going in as a champ could be interesting, but after what Cody's done against Roman, I couldn't see it happen, and obviously it didn't. So, but nevertheless, it was a great match. Announce table spot again, the Prime Drink getting involved again, and brass knuckles again, the referee bump again, okay, but maybe we've seen enough of that in the Logan matches now. I don't think, obviously, it was as good as his match against AJ Styles at Backlash, but it was a different type of match, so that's also not necessarily a negative, and it was definitely a worthy main event. And it was interesting to see these two in the ring together for the first time. And then, of course, we had the celebration of Cody, which me and my partner were just chatting about. Since Cody's won the championship, now, of course, he won it at WrestleMania and had that long celebration. Now, that was warranted because of this long reign that had just ended. It really marked that occasion of a new era at WrestleMania 40. Then you had the long celebration at Backlash, which was like, okay, the crowd are really into it, and Cody's first title defense, you know. And then this one, it went on for ages as well, and it's kind of like, there's been a lot of comments on both this YouTube channel and just on Twitter in general about, there's quite a lot of people who aren't Cody fans, which is fine, and you're absolutely entitled to your opinion. I was a Roman guy, doesn't mean to say that I don't like Cody, when I named my dog after him, so I've got to have some sort of symbolism towards Cody Rhodes there. But when they're doing things like this, how long is it until people grow tired of this in terms of, you know, the long celebrations, the almost Cena-esque superhero, and the absolute positivity with the announcers and the referee and the ring commentators and ring announcers and stuff like that? When is that going to grow tiresome, and when do people start to turning him? And maybe unlike Cena, that maybe that's when they do the heel turn on Cody and things start to get really interesting. I mean, I'm not saying that's a negative in any way or that I'm tired of it yet. It just did occur to me that there seems to be a repeat button at the moment with Cody, and that will wear off very thin because we always want new and exciting and different things happening. And one last thing to mention, there was another Uncle Howdy QR code which featured 2K24, and I thought that was really interesting and very sinister, actually, and very freaky. Very much looking forward to when Uncle Howdy debuts, wherever that may be, whether it's Money in the Bank, Clash of the Castle, or what my prediction is going to be, SummerSlam. I was a massive Bray Wyatt fan, as I'm sure many of you are as well. I was a little bit sceptical, and at the time of his passing, I did think that this Uncle Howdy and just the general Bray Wyatt storyline maybe should have ended there, to honour Bray's legacy and to make sure it doesn't get tarnished. However, how they've handled it so far, I'm pleasantly surprised, and I'll be more than happy to be proved wrong on that, and my excitement is growing. So very excited to see Uncle Howdy and potentially the Wyatt Six debut any day. So that was a recap of King and Queen of the Ring 2024. I want to hear what you thought about the pay-per-view or PLE down in the comments below. And once again, please do remember to like this video if you enjoyed, or dislike if you didn't enjoy it or disagreed with any of my opinions. I don't mind if you like or dislike, to be honest with you. And of course, subscribe for more wrestling action. I will see you guys in the next video. See ya!